Hello class! In preparation for your upcoming research paper, I thought I would create a video about how to do some advanced searching within the library's databases. These strategies can be employed in any number of the databases that the library subscribes to, but for the purposes of this video, I will be focusing on EBSCOhost. Sometimes simply plugging in the keywords that we hear in the news or that are in a prompt or are in a chapter title don't necessarily yield the results that we think they should within the databases. In this video, I want to go over how to troubleshoot some of the issues you might encounter and also just give you some tools for some of the best strategies you can employ to get the absolute best results that you possibly can. So we want to begin at the library's homepage. Click on Research Databases. This takes you to an A to Z list of all of the databases that Cerritos College subscribes to. Scroll down and the first EBSCO database you see is called Academic Search Complete. Many of you might be familiar with the structure of this database because it is EBSCOhost. If you had databases in a public library or in high school, they were most likely EBSCOhost because it is one of the largest providers out there. Some students get confused because EBSCOhost is actually the name of a giant company that has a lot of different products. Academic Search Complete is one of their databases or products. However, if we click on Choose Databases, a box will pop up, which shows you all of the databases or products that Cerritos College subscribes to. There are actually many, many more, but these are the ones that we pay for. And depending on what topic you happen to be researching, sometimes you can add additional databases so that instead of searching in them one by one, you can search in 4, 5, 6, 7 at one time, therefore expanding your search from the very beginning. We'll come back to this when we talk about our topics. Now for your research paper, you guys will be covering Jeff Chang's We Can Be Alright, and the chapter titles were provided to me by your instructor. So I'll go over a couple of these and show you how to enter these search terms within the databases. Let's take a look at this first one of college diversity. And I'm simply going to copy and paste that and show you what comes up within this database. So simply entering the chapter title, I get 4,700 results. The first thing we always want to do is click on full text because this limits you to the library subscription and you won't see any articles that we don't have complete access to. So before you even start scrolling, make sure you click on full text. And 4,700 goes down to, usually it's about half, 2,500. So yeah, almost exactly half. Okay, so first, we want to take a look at the subject terms. Underneath every article, you'll see a list of terms that describe the overarching themes within each of these articles. This is the summary, and these are the subject terms that describe what it talks about. Subject terms I like to describe are the hashtags that have been assigned to an article by either the author or the editor. So let's take a look at these and see if college diversity shows up anywhere as a subject term. If it does, then that gives us a clue that we're on the right track. And if it doesn't, then maybe we need to tweak our terms a little bit. So I see college teachers, universities and colleges, universities. Let's take a look at the next one. Just university. I'm seeing diversity pop up just as a keyword in the summary, but I'm not seeing it anywhere here in the subject area. Scroll a little bit more. I see a lot of colleges and or universities. I don't see diversity. It would help if we could describe the type of diversity that we want to see. But you can see a lot of these articles are actually on point. Why diversity among coaches matter, diversity in their online institutional presence, sexual diversity at a South African university. This gives us maybe a clue that if we want to focus on international colleges or universities, we can, or if we want to focus just on the United States, then we might need to specify that within our search terms. So scrolling through our first list of results. Some key takeaways for me are that I might need to separate these two terms. So college or university, both of those terms popped up on our list, right? So on the first line, in describing our first keyword, it's important that we include all of the synonyms that we have for it, and we separate those synonyms using the term or. From the drop-down menu, these are called Boolean operators. I do not expect you to remember that, but there are 3 of them, and they provide very specific functions within the database. And, or, and not are the 3 Boolean operators. Or means that either one of these terms can be present in an article and still show up on our list. What are some other synonyms for college or university or higher education? And there might be a couple other ones that I want to add along the way, but for now, that's all I want to include. And then I'm going to put diversity on the second line, and that's separated by the term and. So this tells the computer that either one of these 3 terms on the first line can show up in an article, but they also have to have this second term in order to show up. So including our synonyms using the term or on the same line is very important, and then we add our second term, and that's automatically separated by the term and on the second line. That's why I like using advanced search, because instead of 1 search bar, you've got 3, and then it automatically does the and for the differing terms for you. It makes it a little bit neater. So let's go ahead and see how that changes our search. So you can see instead of 4,700 and then down to 2,400 articles, now we have 272,000 articles. That had a huge impact on our search results. That's just crazy. So I'm going to click on full text because remember I told you before you even start scrolling, make sure you limit yourself to what you have available to you. And that takes us down to about 97,000. Still a huge number more than 2,400, right? So then let's take a look at our subject terms. Universities and colleges, higher education, all of those are present. I still don't see diversity here as a subject term, which is fine. I would mainly focus on changing it if the articles that showed up on the list were not in line with what I was after. You also have the option of, instead of searching for a key term, which means that it searches for it in the abstract or the summary, the title, subject terms, in the entire text of the article, it'll search for the word diversity. We can limit it to a subject term, so only articles where diversity is a main subject of the article, not just mentioned as a keyword maybe once in 20 pages. Let's see if that makes a big impact. So that took us down to 16,000. And now you can see that diversity is listed here in the subject term. So they should be much more on point. Now your professor said, taking a look at our limiters over here on the left, your professor said that you did not necessarily have to use scholarly articles, although it's generally a good idea if you have to use 5 sources to include 1, 2, or even 3 scholarly sources in there, just so that your research is that much more powerful. Also, it'll impress your instructor. So you don't have to limit to scholarly, but take a look at this icon here, and so you can get an idea before you click on an article, you know what you're getting. The title usually gives it away because it's usually long and in-depth, but also this icon helps identify them as well. You can also limit to a date range. So if you wanted articles maybe that weren't older than, say, about 10 years, hit enter. It'll automatically update. We had what, 9,700? Adding the date range. Oh, sorry. Now we have 13,000. And you can see under source types that a lot of them are academic, and then some of them are magazines, some are book reviews. Stay away from those because it's just a review of a source. It's not an actual source. And you've got some newspaper articles and trade publications. So you can see how starting out with this key term, even though it appears to be maybe the most simple of all the chapter titles, even this one we had to tweak a fair amount. And some of the other ones, let's take a look at maybe race in movies and TV. Copy. They'll require their own amount of tweaking. So let me delete and paste this in and see how many results we get. So we get 23 results, which is a huge difference from a couple 100,000 results, right? So this is kind of a big clue that the key terms you're entering need a little bit of work. Let's scroll down and again take a look at our subject terms. I do see race. Oh, race in motion pictures is a subject term. That's good. Race relations in motion pictures, although TV is also included. Television, motion pictures, race, social aspects, race discrimination in motion pictures is a subject term. So let's go ahead and plug in this one subject term again and see how many results we get now. 193, still not a huge number. So from here on, I want to go ahead and break up our search terms. So I'm going to cut this and paste it down here. What this does is it tells the computer that these words or phrase no longer have to be mentioned as a phrase, but they can be mentioned individually as separate terms, and they don't even necessarily have to be in the same sentence. They can be anywhere in the same article. So this greatly increases the number of results we should get because these terms are now not linked necessarily. Let's see how just this one thing can impact our search. So it increased our results almost by a factor of 10. Now let's include our synonyms. So motion pictures or film or movies, or not necessarily a synonym, but your professor also, or the chapter title, I should say, also includes television or TV. And then race, I'm going to do or racial. And we could add a third term, but for now I want to stick with these synonyms. So we didn't even change our terms, we simply added in synonyms. Let's see how this impacts our result list. So we had 1,100. When we include our synonyms, it kind of increased it by a factor of 3. So we have 3,400 now. And let's take a look at our subject terms one more time. So race relations, key term, motion pictures, television programs, etc., etc. White supremacy, Hispanic Americans. If you wanted to focus on a specific group like Hispanic Americans or African Americans, then you could include that term in your search as well. Or if you wanted to maybe talk about diversity, we could put a third term. Now keep in mind, anytime you add a third, fourth, fifth term, this result is only going to get smaller and smaller. So we work on broadening our search by adding synonyms, but then we also work to narrow our results by adding additional terms or limiters like a date range and full text. Keep in mind that all the limiters I had for my previous search did stay with me because I didn't click on new search, I simply deleted and then kept moving on from there. Now remember I told you that EBSCOhost was a giant company and they have a lot of different products. We have only been searching in one database, Academic Search Complete. Now, because I added the third term diversity, this took my results down to 134, which is fine. That's still a fairly healthy number, but there are other databases that I feel would also include some really great sources. If we click on Choose Databases and hover over the icon, it gives a description of what's included in that database. As you can see, Academic Search Complete is a comprehensive multidisciplinary database. Multidisciplinary just means that it includes a lot of different types of disciplines. But there are some other more specific disciplines that might be helpful, such as psychology, because diversity, psychology sometimes intertwine. SocIndex is a sociology database. Hover over the icon. Sociology is the way we interact as a society. There's also a fairly in-depth Master File Complete is also multidisciplinary. It's one of the larger ones, so I usually include that as well. If you're talking about education, ERIC is a really good database. Just for future reference, there's a lot of health ones because of the nursing program. Greenfile is an environmental database. There's Business Source Elite, there's a military and government collection, there's several newspaper ones. So customizing your search for almost any subject or topic is possible within EBSCOhost. But for the purposes of our search, diversity, race, and the movies or television, I think these databases would be best. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see how this expands our search. How many did we have? 125, if I want to say. 125 results. Now we've got almost 900. That's a big, big difference. And you can see how our search terms, they're a little bit different now because it's no longer an advanced search. Still the exact same search, but now there's parentheses around it. If you remember back from math in high school, you do the terms within the parentheses first and then move on from there. And that's kind of how you see it here. But doing the advanced search is much easier than trying to enter it this way yourself, though technically it is possible. Now, because we did a new search, our limiters over here on the left, these types of limiters did get erased. So we want to make sure we again click on full text. And that takes us down to 538 results. And then also we want to add in our date range. Your professor didn't specify that you needed a date range, but I just want to give us the option. And that took us down to 329. So from 125, I think that's what it was. Now we've got 329 with those same limiters. So adding those different databases did have quite a big impact on our search. Now, once we've changed our terms, added our limiters, made sure that all of our terms are subject terms, added our synonyms, once we've done that, we're ready to start kind of scrolling and reading summaries and adding articles that we like to a folder to possibly use them for our research paper, right? So as we scroll, you'll notice that each of these articles has a folder plus icon next to it. When you come across an article that you like, simply click on that icon, turns yellow, and it's added to a folder. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Hypothetically, I want to include that one, and that one, and that one. I want to change my search terms to take out diversity for a second. And I'm only doing this to show you that you can change your search terms, you can change your limiters, but your folder items will stay with you. So you don't have to worry about losing those as long as you don't exit out of the tab up at the top. Now, because this is a subscription, I do want to warn you that after I think 20 or 30 minutes of inactivity, meaning you can't walk away from your computer and come back and expect to still be signed in, because for security purposes, it will sign you out after a certain amount of inactivity. So don't close your laptop and still expect all these items to still be in your folder. For that reason, once you've done all your research and you feel fairly confident that you have all the articles you need, you would click on Folder View. And you can add as many as you want to this folder. I've done as many as 30 at one time. If you think you have even the slightest inkling that you might want to read it later, add it to a folder because it's free, it's easy, you'll have it for future reference, might as well add it. So when you're all done, select all of them. And then go over to the right-hand side and select email. You can send it to any email that you like, though Gmail is one of the better ones. I have AOL and Yahoo as well. And I can tell you from personal experience that each one of these articles, or if you have 30 in Yahoo, they come individually versus in Gmail, they all come in the same thread. So it's just organized a little bit more neatly for you. You don't have to use your student Gmail. It can be a personal Gmail, but that is one of the better functionalities of Gmail and EBSCOhost. And then also, very importantly, you want to make sure that you select the correct citation format. Because this is English, we are using MLA, 8th edition. So select that, type in your email address, and then all of these articles and the PDF attachments will automatically be in your inbox waiting for you. Also, the MLA citation will be in your inbox waiting for you, so you can create your works cited page from there. I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on an article and show you what the MLA citation looks like. When you click on a source, you have the full text link on the left and then all your tools available here on the right. We email in bulk, so that's not necessarily important. Also, the citation is emailed, but I just want to show you what it looks like. Oh, and I'm glad this actually has an error in it, so I can point out what that error is. So this is the MLA citation, and you can see that the author's entire name is capitalized. That is a very common mistake within EBSCOhost, and I do see it quite a bit. If you ever see this in one of your citations, just make sure you highlight it. And then if you're in Word, you can do sentence case. See how it has that slightly gray background? I'm going to undo and show you how to get rid of that. So you want to right click, and you have 3 different paste options in Word. This is keep source formatting. The middle one, merge formatting, gets rid of that slightly gray background. We don't want to do text only because that does get rid of the italics. So we want to do the middle one, which is merge formatting, just to get rid of that gray background. Now in Word, super easy. We can click on, here we go, sentence case, and it automatically does, capitalize each word. There we go. So it does it for you. But if you ever see a title in all caps, the author's full name, last name in all caps, that is a mistake you want to go back and correct. Other than that, everything looks really good. The title is in quotation marks. Every large word or important word is capitalized. The name of the journal is in italics. The volume and number is in the correct formatting, as well as the date, page range, and EBSCOhost with the URL. This is fine because it's a primary, not primary, it's the name of a database. So you don't have to worry about the capitalization here. But aside from that one mistake, this citation is perfect. If I wanted to do my formatting, then I would, let me start on a page break. I could do a works cited page. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm here, so might as well. We can do a works cited. And to get the formatting correct, I would simply do Times New Roman, 12-point font. And pop out the paragraph icon or right click and select paragraph. I want to show you really quickly how to fix this formatting. There's 4 things you want to pay attention to. The hanging indent, meaning that every line except for the first needs to be bumped over 1/2 inch. Do within this box. It's called a hanging indent. So you would select it there. And the spacing would be 0 and 0. So there's no extra spaces like this between the citations. And also select double spacing. Those 4 things, hanging indent, 0, 0, and double spacing. And then very neatly, you can change your formatting to look like this. And then all you'd have to do is make sure your citations are in alphabetical order, and you're good to go. Just a little quick tip from me to you. So, in summary, when you're searching within the databases, you want to make sure that you're not simply copying and pasting a chapter title into the search bar and expecting your results to be everything they should be. You want to make sure that you're copying and pasting or sorry, that you're looking at these subject terms and then copying and pasting things that you see in there, the synonyms, you're breaking apart these search terms so that they're no longer linked together like we did with race in movies and TV. And then also you want to add your limiters like full text and a date range. And then adding your articles to a folder, emailing and correcting and selecting the citation format. Hopefully this video helped you. And if you have any other questions, I do want to make sure that you notice on any library page that you see, you have a chat with a librarian feature. And the library is open from 7:30 in the morning to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Fridays and Saturdays we close at 3, but we do have quite a few hours that we're available to help you guys. And you know that I have my direct chat box linked to you guys. Let me see, LibGuides. English here. This is your classes LibGuide, and my box is right here. So during my office hours right here, if you use this chat box, it comes to me directly so that no other librarian would answer it. But again, outside of these hours, there are librarians available to help you. Hopefully you found this video somewhat interesting, and I look forward to hearing from some of you.